And I guess we are live.
लाइव चैट्स वगैरह कुछ विजिबल
All
होता है?
right. Yes. So we are indeed live. So hello and welcome everyone to yet another webinar. And today it is going to be a different session क्योंकि आज हम आपको ये नहीं बताने वाले कि करियर तक पहुंचने के लिए क्या करना है. Today we are telling you what after career. So today with us we have Souvik, who is working at eClerx right now, who has got his job recently only. तो आपको भी एक फ्रेशर वाला पर्सपेक्टिव जो है वो कहीं ना कहीं पता पड़ेगा. And yeah, once again, welcome Souvik.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for this amazing opportunity to
Right.
come up here and share my experience. So yeah,
Absolutely.
let's.
Right. So why don't you introduce the audience to yourself? क्या तुम्हारा journey था? And yeah.
Well, to begin with, I would say that my name, first of all, starting from my name is Souvik Aditya.
Mhm.
So right now, I recently joined eClerx as a data analyst, and before that, I did my training from IIT Kanpur during my college days. So the thing is, in this profession, like during my initial days of my college, I was also running behind those workshop of cybersecurity, thinking that hackers wala
Okay.
feel cool. So yeah, but soon and eventually, when I got to know about other perspectives of CAC, such as front end, machine learning, and everything. So this machine learning thing that gave me a feeling that okay, this seems quite interesting. It's
Right.
very logical and also opens doors to do some real world implementation where whatever you work upon that have some direct impact on the industry, to
Sure.
people, to business, so everything. So that grabbed my attention, so I started preparing for it, doing any like for my self studies. I used to go through online courses from whether from Coursera, and moreover the thing is that I have seen people running behind online courses for certification. So
Right.
but my opinion is it's not the certificate that matters, because when you come to corporate, those certificates are good for creating your first impression itself. But after that first impression, that's it. Your certificates are
Right.
all done. Like that was the whole and sole purpose. After that, what you know, what skills you have, what projects you have worked upon, what practical experience you have. This is what the people want, because just think it simply. Someone is running a business.
Right.
It's not. Yeah, they are they are the corporate people, not your relative who would say that who would give a they will just head upon your back and say that yeah,
Right.
bravo, you have done a great job. It's not that. It's not like that. The corporate people, they only care about that they have a they have a job. If you can get it done, that's
Right.
it. You are good. You're good to go. If you are not, then doesn't matter if you show them 100 or 1,000 certificates to them. It won't matter.
Right.
So during my initial days, also I was doing the same thing. My focus was more whenever I'm doing the online courses, the certificates I never took into consideration that okay,
Right.
certificate. Some of the times I didn't. I don't even see that if that course which I'm learning is providing any certificate at the end or not.
Right.
If they
Right.
give it like a PDF comes, I see that okay, chalo, sahi hai. So, but the thing is that I
Right.
wanted to learn. So that was my part of self studies. After
Right.
that, one training I would mention is ICT. It's the Indian Council for Technology and something, that ministry with the association with IIT Kanpur. They started a training on their
Right.
campus. So I would say that was a very good, one of the best trainings. Like I have gone to
Right.
other trainings as well, but many of them were not that good. You know how the market works. There are many out there who doesn't gives that kind of a content, but they asks for a lot of hefty amount of money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that IIT Kanpur's experience was great. The teachers over there, the faculties, they are really experienced. Of course, it goes without saying it's IIT, so come on, bro. So
Right.
yeah, it doesn't require our approval. So that training was very good. And after that, the very next thing I did was for an engineer to prove his ability. The best platform, that's hackathon.
Right.
So yeah, for CS engineer, the only place to prove his ability, I would say. And moreover, when you are into the data science fields, it's not about the competitive coding. You are more into creating something, developing something to show your skills, that how much you
Right.
know, how many tools you can work upon. So that thing was also a kind of a like big milestone in my career path. That the day I won the Punjab state level hackathon, like not won actually, like we were in the first runner up of Punjab
Right.
state level hackathon.
All right.
It was arranged by Geek for Geeks. So during that day, I still remember the time amount of exposure I got on LinkedIn. Then also when that adds into your CV that you have
Right.
a state level hackathon achievement, that means something.
Right.
So Yeah, so and the project that we created on that day was for the Indian Railways, to create a facial recognition ticket system online and connect it with a database which could maintain a what you can say is a proper balance sheet or account or wallet over there. So what will happen is no need of those rush in front of ticket counters. You just simply walk in. The entry level cameras, just you have to stop over
Right.
there for 1 second. It will detect your face, and when you exit from another station, it will again detect your face in the exit camera, and the distance you have traveled, that much the balance would be cancelled from your wallet.
Right. So it is just like
So
the RFID we have in the highway, but just for the passenger in the railway station. Right.
exactly. So
Yeah.
this idea impressed the panel. When I like the third round of hackathon is generally about like presenting it as a like just imagine the judges to be your investors and then go present your model. So that was the third round. So when I presented it, they really appreciated the idea. They said that this is something innovative. And before that
Right.
presentation, this is some of the tricks that requires experience. Like this was my third hackathon, I believe.
All
So,
right.
and as yeah, but it is as we all say, like no one's counting the failures. I don't post my failures. Like everybody out there is just like
Absolutely.
out of 10 attempts, there might be only two successes, but the world gets to know those two successes, not the eight failures behind it.
Right. Right.
So at that time also, so with my experience, I knew that how to give that presentation also. So that is a very important factor. Hackathons,
Right.
that's why it's a respected platform, but it doesn't, because it doesn't only test your technical skills, but also your endurance, because a 24
Endurance.
hours long coding, that is really hectic, and you cannot sleep, man, because if sometimes I even feel like I'm getting tired, there's no option. The time will run out.
Right.
I won't be able to create my demo project over there. So how will I get selected? So, and after all of these, keeping your patience and refreshing yourself so that you get prepared for the presentation round, because you have to get on the stage and face the panel, launch, like describe your project as if you're launching your own startup. Like,
Right.
this is my idea. This is what I have done. So all of these things. So that also requires experience. Not first time it creates a lot of trouble. I mean,
Right.
the first time, the most surprising thing is that after 3 a.m. I've seen the people who comes to hackathon first time. After
Right.
3 a.m. something happens, their endurance gets affected a lot. So
Right.
but yeah, so we did that. So after doing that, I started mentoring first for unschool.
Right.
So that was my first breakout to the corporate. Like I started working. That was on the beginning of my second day itself. I started working. So slowly and eventually, then after college, and this once these trouble from college, this they came along. Then our placement,
Right.
yeah, then the placement drive started. After that, I got placed in eClerx, and at the same time, it's really a great honor to get connected with Board
Right.
Infinity and be a coach of data science over here. So, and
Right.
in eClerx also right now, yeah, going with the data analyst profile.
Right. Amazing. So, just as you
Yeah.
said that nobody posts their failure, right? But that is why
Yes.
we come into the picture. We bring coaches like you so that you can tell students that these are the steps you need not to take and what is the right path. Because internet today is filled with, I'll say, over information. And so the best person who can guide you today in the world of data science is not definitely your college professor or not someone who is just good in theory. We need people who are good in applied part. And that is why all of our teachers are industry professionals only. All right. So that was a great introduction to about yourself, Souvik, and your journey. Now, let's move on to the main agenda of this session, that
Yeah.
life after being recruited. So you have been placed just freshly, right? So we
Yes.
all of us have certain myths about, जब corporate life start होगा तो ऐसा होगा वैसा होगा. Now definitely we are dealing with different times कि we are all working from home. But yeah, how was that journey starting out? What was your first day like?
The first day in if I have to focus, then yeah, the induction was pretty good. But the thing is, when I, generally started working actually as a data analyst, the profile, it quite surprises me that the industry is something like whatever you have learned in college. I won't say that goes in vain.
Right.
That is there, but along with these extra trainings on various tools and other things are very much required, because over there, like I'll tell you my base. First of all, just give let me give you a basic description about what my day-to-day job is. That will
Right.
also give an idea about what a data analyst do, and at the same time, then from there I will relate that why college studies and like not that much important, and why
Right.
these other extra courses, trainings, hand-on experiences, these are important. So the thing
Right.
is, Right now, in my company, I'm working for a American client. Basically, you people might know it, like you have heard about Hot Wheels, you have heard about
Right.
Barbie. These are big brands, right? So their creator, that is Metal. So
Right.
we work for Metals, like data collection and data tagging. So
Right.
tagging means like they have a suppose e-commerce website. So our job is that we implement a tracking code. At the same time, we keep a link with that tracking code, tell the developer that these are the variables I need in the data layer, so he updates it. Sometimes
Right.
if new variable request comes in that we need data regarding this and the developer is busy, then it becomes our job that from our any of the tag management system, for example Google Analytics has GTM, Adobe Analytics has Launch,
Right.
then Telium is itself a generic or a open platform for every, where you can connect any analytical tool and it can act as a common tag manager.
Right.
So through that we can arrange the data layers. So creating variables which you require on events. But you suppose someone clicks on the cart, so
Right.
we tracked that user that he clicked on cart, but then there are 5 to 6 processes before the payment is done successfully. So we track him throughout with the help of cookies. So that's the first party cookie where it comes
Right.
in. And trust me, in college we never learned these things. College teaches us
Right.
Python, printf, hello world, data structures, and
Right.
that's it. And those things, I'm not saying they are not useful. I'll come to this where the coding
Right.
actually comes in, but these are the things which are required as a industrial tools. So and then for presentation there is Tableau. Like after data collection, the analytical team then works on how to present it, whether it are like creating QA reports on Excel, then creating the visual charts and everything with the help of Tableau. So these all things plays part, but initially we do that tagging phase where sometimes if the ready-made tag is not available, at that time we have
Right.
to go to the custom editor, and with the help of JavaScript, like our data analyst or data scientist doesn't have to be very much advanced in in JavaScript. Like he's not a front-end
Right.
developer after all, but he
Right.
has to have a basic knowledge so that he can at least configure the data layer of any particular website, or
Right.
at least map the data layer variables with any of the data layer data elements present in any of the tag management tool that he is using, whether it is Telium, whether it is Launch or GTM.
Right. So, Souvik,
So
you
yeah.
just told about that a data analyst should know the basics of JavaScript. But I think, is it only true if you're working on a web kind of project, or is it true generally as well?
No, now here comes the another twist of
Right.
corporate.
Right.
There is no fixed parameter about what you should know, what you should not know. Like
Absolutely.
during the first days of my KT, when I asked my senior that, like she was by KT, I mean in corporate we use this term. So for the
Right.
people who are not in the corporate, it
Right.
means knowledge
Knowledge
transfer.
transfer.
Just for our
Right.
audience, yeah.
Mhm.
So basically nothing. Whenever a request comes in from the client, it is quite acceptable that the hired engineers don't know everything. I mean, who will
Right.
be there like who knows literally everything? So according to the request, if some new technology, if there is a work, if there's some work that needs to be done in a new technology, new tool, so for that we can ask time, that we are researching it, we are searching how ways or solutions through it. So that
Right.
is the time when we can officially ask from the client that we need time to figure this out. So during that KT, when I asked my senior that, man, can you tell me like in data science field, like what exactly, which courses should I do, or what languages
Right.
should I learn so that it becomes easy for me? She said that in corporate, the courses really won't matter. The real learning will happen when the work comes in.
Right.
Like once the client starts pressurizing you, that's the time when you have the real lessons. So uh,
Absolutely.
so yeah, that's a very that was a very
Mhm.
wise tip from her end.
Right.
So like that's exactly what happened. Right now we are working on web. Tomorrow maybe some other client will come who has who has his platform not only on web but maybe on mobile also. So
Right.
at that time we also need to configure the mobile application, because this is the initial phase of data science. Now
Mhm.
we are just taking the data, we are making the connections, we are taking the data from the user interface towards the backend. So this
Right.
job requires the knowledge of a little bit of a front end. I mean, you don't have to develop the whole attractive web page, but you at least
Right.
should know how to manipulate it from your end so that you can track everything.
Definitely. So that is the first takeaway I would have for our learners, that always be open to learn. While
Yeah.
learning Tableau, Excel, knowing Python, these are going to get you a job, no doubt about it. But you should be open to learn depending upon your client, depending upon your company. You're going to get multiple assignment, and that is definitely going to be real learning. So any
Yes, of
other
course. Like,
shock, Souvik, that you got? Yeah.
yeah, like as you were saying, I would like to add up with that only, that yes, flexibility is a
Right.
very important feature in corporate. I mean, even if you are not, I mean, yes, your skills in Python, everything is required. I won't say that the company would just accept you without checking your
Right.
skills. So that will happen. But that, so listen, one thing, everybody, like when you go walk into a technical interview in a day for a data analyst or for data science, candidates who are sitting over there, everybody knows Python, machine learning, and all. Yes, there
Right.
might be some basic differences, that who learned from where, how much dedication they have shown. So according to that, their skills might differ at
Right.
certain levels. But basically, everybody knows. It is not like somebody who has no idea what Python is will walk into a data science interview. That won't happen.
Right.
So among all the candidates, what you can offer better is the flexibility. If you can show them that you have worked on diversified projects,
Right.
your speaking skills, your communication skills also counts. Along with that, the projects you have learned, you can show, you can explain them that this is generally not what I do. This is not about my domain,
Right.
but particularly for this project, I researched it, and within few months, I learned the basics. I learned the minimum requirements that was becoming an obstacle for completing my project, and I finally
Right.
solved it. So this problem solving approach and the dedication and flexibility that you are ready to offer, that's something which adds up to your profile, and makes it gives you a better chance for
Right.
selection.
Absolutely, definitely. I'd 100% agree, because even when we train our students for placement, it is going to be a one-on-one placement training, where the coach live trains them. They take their mock interview, and especially they help them build two capstone projects so that they have a diversified portfolio. So, Souvik, in your mind, what does a good data science portfolio look like?
A good data science portfolio, in my opinion, that would be
Like,
at least like there is not limit, but yeah, more than 4 projects, minimum four
right.
to five projects.
Mm-hmm.
And the projects, there should be, he should have a profile ready on Kaggle, and on that Kaggle, on his profile, he should have some published sheets of Tableau. Before that,
Right.
he should present his Python notebook file, where he has first cleaned the data, first has done the feature engineering processes which are taught under machine learning, that what are the relation with what feature is related to our target feature in what much amount, like
Right.
what is the correlation between them. So these correlation scores, everything are depending upon that excluded. Then train and test your data, see which model works fine. So
Right.
once you clean your data, then you can make the data in a visualization format with the help of Tableau. So doing these things, providing that in your Kaggle profile, and Kaggle is a big place for data scientists and machine learners.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, and even the genius level people, they compete over there at in global
Right.
level. I've seen them, that their work is dangerous. I mean, during this pandemic time also, whatever COVID data came in, there was a lot of contribution
Right.
from Kaggle developer, like the developers who are present on Kaggle community. So that thing is done. And after that, the most important thing that I would like to mention in case of data analyst or data scientist, if you're a competitive coder, maybe you have to do a like intense not maybe, I agree, you have to do a intense hard work or in coding, particularly in coding. But when you're a data scientist, yes, some people I have seen, they ask me, sir, is coding very very essential in data scientist? So when they use this very very word, so I say that no, not like you're not a competitive coder, so you can ease your at that pedal over coding a little bit. But
Right.
that is not something to be taken lightly. Like, it is not reducing your work. You might not be doing that much coding as a competitive coder, but the extra burden upon you is you have to know endless number of tools.
Right.
Like, tools are the most important thing for a data scientist. It's not like I learned Python, I know machine learning, and done, I'm the data
Right.
scientist. That you are
Right.
far from data scientist, becoming data scientist, I mean. So it is like you have to know at least two visualizing tools such as Excel, Tableau, or Tableau Power BI,
Right.
and then you should know languages like Python and R. If you don't know R, it's all
It's
right,
okay.
but it's
Yeah.
good. Like, if you have a little bit exposure to R as well, and your stronghold is Python, that also works fine. So then machine learning algorithm comes into play. Apart from that, you need to know how to access a database. For that, you need to know
Right.
SQL, PostgreSQL. Then after, then coding, like SQL are simple queries, but PLSQL, that is the programming. It is a programming language in the
Right.
sequential format. So PLSQL, these things are you have to learn. And apart from that, whenever whatever project comes, like right now we are doing on web development, so I have to learn JavaScript. Like I never learned
Right.
Java, a new JavaScript in my college, because I took data science as a major.
Right.
So yeah, so now I have to learn that. So these flexibilities will come. So basically data, and also in the beginning of the career, data scientists are not you might have heard those freakishly amazing salary packages of data scientists.
Right.
Like even,
Right.
yeah, Harvard, they produced a report at 2019 or 20 declaring that data scientists or data analysts, these profile are the they use this exact word called these, they called
Sexiest
it
job in
sexiest
21st.
job
Yeah.
in the yeah, in the industry in
21st
21st century.
century. Right. And
Yes,
it is not actually 2019 or 2020. They published it way back in like 2008 or 2010 maybe. Yeah.
exactly. Like after that decade only, there was a
Right.
lot of data gathered, and suddenly there was a very huge demand for data analysts,
Right.
then data scientists. So for another important thing, yes, it is the sexiest job, but at the initially when you start your career, the problem with data scientist is that that particular designation holds a lot of responsibility. I mean,
Right.
some very serious decisions and crucial points are depends upon their analysis, their feedback, and their predictions. So it's not like any fresher just comes up and he says that I have learned everything, I have certification for everything, and
Right.
suddenly he would be made a head of something. You have to start from the lower region, because being a data scientist, what this is not some bookish definition or internet written like this is not written somewhere in the internet. What I feel is an ideal data scientist, after 7 to 8 years of experience, when he actually starts with those
Right.
amazing packages for above 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs, it can go up
Right.
to anything. So that is because he developed a business experience. He knows about, not only about the technicalities and the tools, and he has experience, that's fine, but along with that, he has the business experience. He can make calls for business decisions. He can say,
Right.
like, even above some MBA people, a data scientist can make a claim that I predict that this will happen, so proceed according to this. And
Right.
many of the times company will a lot of times neglect the MBA's opinion and listen to this guy,
Right.
because he has that so basically at top level, when you become a data scientist after 10 years experience or so, you are basically a man or a person, you can say that a person who has his capabilities and a very good capabilities in both technical as well as business management field. So that's why they are paid this much, because they play a very very crucial role.
Right, absolutely. And so, yeah, I think the main two takeaways for this session will be always be open to learn, and second is have patience because it takes your time. It is not that today you are going to learn data science and tomorrow a CEO is going to ask you what you should do next, right? Yeah, so
Yes.
patience is definitely necessary. And just like Souvik said, once you get part of this decision making process, that is where the magic will begin and your career is going to rise and rise. Obviously, now, Souvik, any funny incident from your job where you felt like, "Arey yaar, ye kya ho gaya?" Like you tried to do
uh,
one thing and other thing happened, and how did you rectified it? Yeah,
Well, what I would suggest, any of my funny experiences would be
right.
that for the first time when I was learning Adobe, so during
Hmm.
my first KT session, they taught me, how to use the Adobe
Right.
Analytics and Adobe Launch with it. So we learned Adobe Launch, and the most ironical part, like it might be funny for others, I don't know, but for me, it
Right.
was a very terrible situation. I just completed Adobe Launch in a very successful manner, and I was ready to work upon it. Very excited that yes, I'm
Right.
done with Adobe Launch. Just give me a website, I'll track the whole thing by myself. So this
Right.
kind of confidence I was having. But then suddenly the request from metal company, those American clients, they just said that no, actually, we this is the new request from our end.
Right.
We want you to shift our whole tracking profile. Like from now on, the entire tracking would be on Google Analytics, and that too with the help of a tag management called
Right.
Telium. So both the things are new. I just now completed it. I gone through the
Right.
case studies, everything. I was working
Right.
upon it, and then they say that okay, now shift the whole platform itself.
All right.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
was hectic. But the interesting thing is, these kind of challenges actually gives you the opportunity to learn. Just
Right.
imagine if the client wouldn't have requested it, I would
Right.
have stopped at Adobe Launch itself. I wouldn't
Right.
have got the knowledge of Google Analytics 4 and at the same time Telium, and didn't wouldn't have completed the certification from Telium. So
Obviously.
that of course increased my experience and also enhanced my CV, I would say.
Right, right. Amazing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that is what the thing is. Even after COVID, many people got stuck, and it is the element of life that nothing goes as planned. So always you should be ready to learn new things. Once again, Souvik, thanks a lot for
Yeah.
joining us. It was a great session. I think it
Okay,
used
we
very
have one question, I believe.
right,
PLSQL is mandatory for data analyst. Someone is asking.
right,
So yeah, like as I said, you are becoming a data scientist, so you are getting a little bit leisure on your coding side. You don't have to be a competitive coder, but
right,
tools are certainly required. And yes, PLSQL, SQL, these are required because this is
right.
the only, like even in Python. Suppose you are working on a project. I'll share my experience. So in that project, if you are working into any kind of a machine learning algorithm, so that machine learning algorithm will come later on. But first, you
Right,
need to extract that data, right? So every time the data won't be in Excel file, it might happen that the data which you're working upon is in a SQ, like in a data SQ, what you can say DBMS,
right,
DBMS server, where you have to connect to that DBMS server or the SQL server and then extract data from that particular database. So at that time, you can run single query, yes, but remember, how many times will you run a query?
right,
Suppose even if you require a basic loop, so you have to write a program, and inside that you have to pass that query. So that thing is
right,
called PLSQL, that
right,
SQL queries, but in a program language format. So yes, that
right.
is very important.
And I think, more than being like you should know SQL server, or you should know MySQL, or you should know PLSQL. I think the major focus should be on SQL itself, that you should know
Yeah.
about the DBMS concept and the SQL, because I don't think there is much of a difference in the approach if you know the SQL, right.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
as we say, the SQL is the sequential query language. So that
right,
is the
right.
language itself. And
Hmm.
PLSQL means that is a procedural way. I mean,
Right, it is just a
rather than writing
paradigm.
single,
Mhm.
yeah, single line coding, it gives a whole coding format where you can write an entire script. That
Right, right,
particular, these set of queries will be run in these orders by following these conditions.
right, right,
So that is only PLSQL. So yeah,
right.
if you learn SQL, that would be enough for that you'll be good to go.
Right. It is just that in normal SQL, you're just typing one query at a time. Here, you just have a bunch of query lined up together, right?
Yes.
All right. Amazing. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Souvik, for joining us. It was a great session. I definitely
Okay.
enjoyed the conversation a lot. And definitely, it is going to be very insightful for young freshers who are soon going to get a job. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All right.
All
Yeah.
right.
Have a
Yeah.
good day.
Yeah. Thanks. You too.
Yeah.